Today on lambiancepodcast, we are joined by actor, creator, producer, director, Alonge Hawes. Did I say that right?
Yes, sir, you did.
Okay. So he's going to be spending a few minutes with us, maybe if he really likes us, more than a few minutes. And we're going to be discussing about his show, which is called Blue Collar Hustle, which is a really great show, people. I recommend that you go and watch it. It's on YouTube. And Peter, which is the other platform?
It's called Sika TV. So it's available if you have an Android box, or do they have a website as well?
Yes, they have a website. They have an app on both Android and Apple TV. And they have a website, and it's 100% free. All you have to do is go to the website, type in Blue Collar Hustle, and it'll come up.
Exactly. You don't even need to register or nothing.
Nope.
And that is perfect. And hope you enjoyed the interview that we're going to have with him. And we spoke to him. He's a really, really smart and intelligent person. And hope you enjoyed the interview. Okay, I wanted to ask you, how did the show come about?
Basically, the show came about for the simple fact that there was a couple of things that led to the show's creation. First and foremost, I did not like the portrayals of the mainstream portrayals of African-American millennials, in modern television and movies. I felt that it was very one-sided and stereotypical. So I decided, instead of waiting for somebody to create what I felt was a real representation or accurate representation, that I would do it myself, number one. Number two, the show really was inspired by Quentin Williams, who actually plays Quan Banneker on the show. He's a real life rapper, and we worked together. I was actually his manager. We worked together at Best Buy, and we were, trying to get his career off the ground, and he was trying to put out the album. And we decided the original plan was to shoot some music videos. But I said, instead of shooting music videos, what we could do is we could actually make a web series and, actually put it out there and chronicle the journey that we've been on, and, use your music, as kind of the backdrop to the series. So that was the two main things that kind of, led to me creating the show.
That's nice. If I'm not mistaken, are you write and do you direct also?
I direct episodes in season 2. I didn't directly direct any episodes in season 1. I did a lot of executive producing and a little bit of what we call shadow directing or assistant directing. I'm very hands-on, and I was very hands-on behind the scenes. But I actually direct episodes in season 2, but not.
Okay, so prior to this, did you have any background in cinema or movies?
No, I didn't. Blue Collar Hustle is my first foray into scripted series or movies or cinema at large. I was more of a writer, and I was writing a lot of think pieces and a lot of reviews on hip hop albums and just different current events that were happening in the world. And so I took that and I just researched screenwriting and things like that, and then just decided to write my own script. So Blue Collar Hustle was like my first script.
It's amazing because I actually read a few of your reviews, and it was always entertaining to read.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, shout outs to the colleague. The colleague had a lot to do with that. So shout outs to the colleague.
And for yourself, let's say like as an actor, now director and writer of the show, what's the toughest thing for you?
The toughest thing? I would probably say the toughest thing, honestly, is more of the producing side, getting everything together, getting all the actors together for rehearsals. All of us work, all of us have full-time day jobs. So it's hard getting us all into the same room, scheduling things like location shoots and just making sure that we get everything together. We can all come together and shoot it. The writing portion, the acting portion, directing, all that kind of falls into place. But more of the production side is kind of the hardest, raising funds and things of that nature.
How do you go about raising funds to basically build each episode? Do you have a certain budget at the beginning of the season, or?
So yes, we do have we do create a budget. We try to be realistic. What we try to do is we try to take all the tools that we have at hand, and we just spread out from there. So whoever's apartment building that we can shoot at, or whoever's church that we can shoot at for free or either for a small fee, we put that into the budget. And then of course camera and crew, that goes into the budget. That's probably 90%. Is making sure that the crew is paid, and that we have the budgeting for camera and crew is the most important thing. And what we do is basically, when we started the series, I paid for everything out of pocket myself. I felt that it was important for me to, if I had the vision, I had to be the one to kickstart it, honestly. So no one's going to believe in you unless you believe in yourself. So I had to put most of the money up myself for the first part of season 1, and then we got some backers for season 2. So we got some backers for season 2, and we also had a crowdfunding campaign which helped pay for it as well for season 2.
I see right now for season 2, you guys are on Sika TV.
Yes. So Sika TV was actually was probably our first. They were our first backer. They were the first ones that really believed in us, and they were our first distributor. So we actually started on Sika TV in season 1. We were on YouTube first, and then Sika came along, and then some of our other distribution partners came along. But for season 2, I knew I needed a really strong partner, and we partnered with Sika to put season 2 out on Sika first, because they have a lot of marketing background. They have a lot of marketing background, and they can get us to a wider audience.
Any plans like to go like in any big network?
Not as of right now. I never say never. But when you start talking about the big networks, you start talking about a lot of watering down the messages and watering down the characterizations, and the type of things that I'm trying to portray. So when you start getting to big networks, there's always some type of compromise. And I'm not at the point right now where I'm ready to compromise my artistic vision, what I see for the show and the series. So I would say not right now, but I would never say never. So
like you say in general, like especially what I feel about you being like an artist in a certain way, like you are your biggest critic. Anything you'd like to be different about the show, or is it going on the way that you like?
Yeah, there's always things that you want to change in hindsight. Honestly, as a creative, nothing is ever 100% to your liking. I would just say, if it were up to me, some of the things in season 1, I would change just visually. Season 2, I'm very, very happy with season 2. But of course, there's always little things you want to change. Like I said, you're always your biggest critic. Like there's a line there I would have changed, or there's something there I would have changed. There's always something I'm going to go back and critique myself on, because I never feel like I'm 100% perfect.
So this is like your first acting, like I can see, because I looked up a little bit on IMDb, and it looks like it's the first time that most of you are in front of the camera. Like who would you say, if it is the case, like you model like your acting style after?
My acting style, I model it a lot after Donald Glover, who created Atlanta and is a really big inspiration of mine. I feel like he's a genius. He's a creative genius, just all the way through. So I model a lot of, I researched and studied a lot of what he did when he was creating, Atlanta, because, our show takes place in Atlanta, and I wanted to be, as authentic as possible without being a carbon copy, because we take place, our show is a different type of, brand, and we have a different type of characterization. But still, I researched a lot of what he did and how he got into character and how he created his character. So I would say the biggest inspiration that I have acting-wise would be Donald Glover. Acting and writing-wise would be Donald Glover. Directing-wise, it would be Spike Lee.
Okay, well. And you're a native from Atlanta, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Stone Mountain.
Could you give us a description of how it was growing up in Atlanta? Because from us, all we see is what we saw on TV. So we see the music videos, we see the movies like ATL,
right,
like Superfly. That's our image from it.
Yeah, honestly, I would say Atlanta is very, very diverse, especially amongst the Black community. There's a very rich cultural Black history in Atlanta and the surrounding areas. Like me, myself, I'm from Stone Mountain. Stone Mountain is the place that was actually the rebirth of the Ku Klux Klan. Stone Mountain is the place where they have the racist, offensive white supremacist carvings of Robert E. Lee and Stonewall Jackson, up on Stone Mountain. And, nowadays, Stone Mountain is actually 74% Black population. So we took a place that was made to represent, our downfall, made to represent the lynchings and killings and mass destruction of Black people. And we turned that into basically our own cultural hub. It's 74% Black in Stone Mountain, and most of these people are middle-class, hardworking people who own their own businesses, and they're just going about trying to live their lives. So honestly, what Stone Mountain in Atlanta for me represents Black triumph, because when you walk through the city, you'll see all different types of Black people. It's not just one way. It's not just ATL. It's not just Superfly. It's not just Atlanta. It's all of them, all together, side by side, just trying to carve up their piece of the American dream.
Everybody working together.
Yes, sir. Everybody working together, side by side.
Yes, I wanted to ask for the cast, like, did you have like interview, or you just like essentially were friends and you just put them in the show?
Yes, we were all friends, with the exception of Tijuana. We were all friends beforehand. So, for instance, Shawnee Hawes, who plays Asha Luna, is my sister. We grew up together. So, it was nothing. And she was actually a professional actress before this. So her and Tijuana are the only two that had any acting experience beforehand. So, it was a no-brainer to get her involved, to get my sister involved. And then as for me, Quentin, Roberto, and Howard, we all worked together. I was actually their boss at Best Buy. We all worked together for about a year and a half before, Blue Collar Hustle even came about. And then we were helping Quentin, who plays Quan Kubrick, we were helping him, put his independent album out before we started the show. So we had all worked together and built a brotherhood, and I knew that they could do it. I knew that they were talented, and I knew that it was something that they could pull off.
And that's so nice. And one thing that I noticed in season 1, and the 2 episodes that I watched, is that it seems like when you talk about music, and it looks like you're a big fan of Nas.
Yes, I'm a huge fan of Nas. He's the GOAT. He's my favorite rapper of all time, probably my favorite overall poet and musician of all time. So yeah, my Nas fandom does kind of bleed into the story a bit because it's about hip hop, and really all of our favorite rappers. I chose a lot of like lines of dialogue. We use rap lyrics and things like that. All of our favorite rappers kind of creep into the show a little bit. Like Q in real life, his favorite rapper is Kanye West. Roberto, who plays Jose Torres, his favorite rapper is Jay-Z. So I incorporate little bits of their music and lyrics into the dialogue just to keep it authentic. Because these are based off real conversations that we have around hip hop. Nice.
Because in a weird way, like maybe it's just me, but I don't know if you've been told that before, but you do kind of look like Nas.
Man, don't flatter me, man. I'm just a regular dude out here trying to get it, man. I don't look like a GOAT. I'm just out here, I'm just on the humble. I'm a fan. Like I said, I think he's, one of the most poetic individuals to ever live, and I think the way that he utilizes the written word is just amazing. So he's a really big inspiration as well.
Talking about Nas, how do you feel about the last album? Because it's mixed reviews on there. I like
Nasir?
The album personally.
Personally, I love Nasir. It's still in my rotation.
Me too.
I like it. I feel like maybe people, the 6-year wait between Life is Good and Nasir, maybe people were expecting something else, something different. But for me, I expect a different Nas project every time. I'm not here to compare it to the last project because since Illmatic, he's been putting out different projects. No Nas album is the same as the last one. So I'm always looking for, a certain type of growth or trying to see where he's at in his life, and I enjoy the album.
Me too.
Everything is one of my favorite songs of the year.
Yeah, because even me, my only complaint about the album is that it's too short. Other than that, I love it.
Right. Yeah, the 7 songs thing, but that was more of a Kanye West thing. When he was doing all the albums. But yeah, I love the album personally. I know that there was some criticism about it. I felt like he was unfairly criticized for the simple fact that, the Khalees accusations kind of came out around the time. And I think that may have, dampered, the reception of the album a little bit. But if you just take the album, as a piece of music as a whole, I think it's a solid 4 mics, honestly.
Definitely. And I think the reason why Reggie is saying you look like Nas is because you haven't seen the second season yet, with your hair growth and everything. Right.
Yeah. When you see me in the second season, I think it's more. And I did that on purpose. So if you look and you see, and not to like spoil anything, but when you see the character I play, Johnny, when you see him from season 1 to season 2, I wanted to show a physical kind of growth. As he grows out of his more conservative, corporate type of mindset, and he's growing now as a person. He's now showing more of who he is. So he actually is more Afrocentric. He's growing his hair out. He's freeing himself from who he thought he had to be successful.
How much of your personal life would you say you're put into those characters?
About 70% of our personal lives, I would say, is put into the characters. All of us, about a good 70%. Because it was our first project and because our first time acting, I felt like it was only appropriate and it would make it a little bit easier for everybody if we drew upon a lot of our past experiences and personalities in order to make the characters more authentic. I felt like, about a good 70%, I would say, is based off a lot of our past experiences. Although I do stress Blue Collar Hustle is a work of fiction. Not everything is true, or not everything is, the same. Some things have been changed or switched around or dramatized.
Just not to expose a few people.
Right. No. Right. Yeah. Everything is not. Yeah. There are some situations that are absolutely 100% true, and then there are some that are dramatized for the sake of of a good story.
Yeah, entertainment.
Absolutely.
Since you were still telling us it's a lot of in your case life imitating art, but who on the show do you think, if it's not you, that's more like the character, and who is least like the character?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. Okay, so I would say the character who's most like their real life counterpart is probably Quentin Williams, who plays Quan Banneker. It's a lot of that is him. He's very charismatic. He's a great rapper. Girls love him. He's a very responsible father. But he always gets himself in these little crazy situations And I talk to him all the time. We talk every day, me and him, and he'll different situations. He's always asking my advice. I'm always like, you should do it this way and that way, and things like that. So I would say he's most like his character, and probably who's least like their character is my sister Shawnee Hawes, who plays Asha Luna. I wanted her to play against type because I didn't want there to be any hints of us having like a sibling type relationship, because I thought that would be a little cliche. So she's least like her character, because her character, when you first meet her, is kind of haughty, kind of standoffish, kind of doesn't want to be involved in the whole thing that Johnny has going on with the corporation. That's not really her. She's a very warm, sweet, intelligent individual. Asha's very intelligent too, but in a more cold and cool way, where Shawnee's not like that at all. Shawnee's very sweet and very humble.
Yes, because I love the way that you wrote her character. Like in the first exchange that I see in season 1, I like the point that she brought up when she was, let's say, not really arguing, but just being a counter to what you were telling her. Like, I want you to be more of that employee that people might like to follow. And she responded by saying well, that's not really me. I just want to do what I need to do and be out of it. And that whole part hit home for me so much, because me myself, at one point in time, being part of that type of environment, even though we're in 2 different countries, it was exactly the same thing.
Right. And it's actually based, that line of dialogue that I wrote, that whole exchange was actually based off of, a lot of conversations that I had, with certain people, when I was managing them, and I saw, potential in them. I thought they could be, anything within the company they wanted to be. And they were just like, wait, hold up, I'm just here for a check. Not everybody is meant to go, farther than where they are in this particular job or this particular field. And that's something that I had to learn. And I felt like, we had this conversation a lot. And I felt like she could encapsulate that within the character. So she did a great job, honestly. I think she did a great job. And a lot of people actually say that scene is amongst their favorite in the entire series. So thank you very much for that. Yeah,
because that's the first thing that hit me. And I'm like, I know people like that. I've been that person also who's like, I don't feel like I should be going forward. Maybe it's for a different type of company with my full effort. But here, I'm just good with the check.
Right. And that's absolutely, the right of people. Not everybody, like you said, is going to go forward in the company. Everybody is different. And especially I want to show different facets of Black life, across the diaspora and in Atlanta. We're not a monolith. We're all different. But I feel like we all represent something that's worthwhile within the Black community.
That is true.
Okay, I have a question. I noticed on the second season, there's a lot of character development, especially for the part it was a story about the producer. I forget his name.
Jose Torres.
Exactly, Jose. Are you at a point now where you know how the story is going to end, or you're still working on it?
Yes, I know exactly how the story is going to end. When I started the series, I started with an outline. I wrote an entire outline for the series and how each character gets from point A to point B. So yes, I feel like everything that has a beginning has an end, and the best stories you're writing with the end in mind. That's just something that I personally learned, as a creator, as a writer, and, watching different shows and seeing different things, develop. The best stories, you're actually writing towards the end, and you have the end in mind. For Jose Torres, specifically that episode 5, was called Justify My Thug.
Yeah.
That episode is probably one of my proudest accomplishments as a writer. For the simple fact that I personally don't come from a hood or street background, but the actor Roberto Cruz, who plays Jose Torres, that's his background. A lot of that I wanted to make sure was authentic. Me and him, while I was writing the episode, me and him were actually up till about 3:00 in the morning, talking and texting back and forth, and I was asking him different things about his life and his background and where he came from and his family and just different things like that, just to make sure, and his story, just to make sure that I got it 100% correct. So that story is actually about, I would say that's about a good 65 to 70% of that is true to his experiences and where he came from. Good 65 to 70% is actually true. And I wanted to be really authentic with it. And I wanted to make sure that, people in his hometown or people from his background could watch it and feel like we captured, that lifestyle and that background and, his struggles and where he came from. And I feel like we did that. So like I said, that's actually one of my proudest accomplishments as a writer. And I'm very thankful for him for being as open and honest as he was and allowing me to tell his story.
I actually enjoyed this episode, especially the scene when you were running towards him.
Yes. Thank you. Thank
the
you.
cinematography on this one was really good.
Thank you.
Like,
Thank you
good
very
job,
much. Thank you very much. We shot that episode over 3 days. We shot that one episode over 3 days. We worked really, really hard on it. When I wrote the script, I had a visual in mind. I knew exactly how I wanted to play out. And Jairus Burks, who shot and directed the episode, he actually is the cinematographer on all the episodes in season 2, and he's the main director as well. I direct 2 episodes in season 2, and he directed the other 8. And he directed this episode. He did a great job, and everything came out really well. And like I said, especially that running scene. That running scene was really important.
Yeah.
Man, you guys are killing me, man. I'm only in season 1, so I can't wait to get season 2 now.
That's why I'm trying not to spoil too much. So
yeah, me too. I'm trying not to spoil too much, but I like I said, I really think season 2 is a really, really big improvement over season 1. It took us an entire year. We started in October of last year. We started shooting it, and we just finished in October, of this year. We just finished. So, we put a lot of labor and a lot of love into it, and I'm very proud of it, and I really hope that the audience really takes to it.
Okay. How many episodes for season 2?
It's going to be 10 episodes. So, episodes 1 through 7 are out right now on Secret TV. And I just got off the phone with Jairus last night, actually. This is funny. And episode 8, a lot of it is finished. We just have to add some music, effects, and things like that to it. And then he's working on 9 and 10 right now. And we're hoping to have those out by the end of November. So you'll have the complete season, hopefully, by the end of November.
Man, okay, so I got my work cut out for me tonight. Oh my God. But outside of that, do you have any projects in the works?
Yes, I do. I can't really talk about them right now because we're still in the midst of Blue Collar Hustle, and we're still promoting Blue Collar Hustle. Like I said, all the episodes aren't out yet, and we're still promoting it and things like that. But there's always something brewing in the background. I will say I know what my next project is. I'm not ready to talk about it right now.
Okay, perfect. Because I'm loving it, and there's a lot of room for a show like yours, essentially because, well, from what I can tell, I can compare it to a Donald Glover show or the other lady on HBO,
Issa Rae.
Insecure.
Yeah, Issa Rae.
Exactly, Issa Rae.
Yep, great show.
Exactly, Insecure. So there's room for a show like yours to just blow up also, because it's just from what I've seen so far and what I can hear, Peter is saying that it's well written and it's funny and there's a lot of poignant moment. So this is something that I like. Even the lady, I believe, I don't know if she's in season 2, the lady that plays your wife.
Yeah, Tijuana Agnew. Yeah, she's gonna be in season 2 as well. Yeah, she's a main character, and there's a lot I wanted to do with her character and a lot I wanted to do with her as an actress. And I feel like, without giving away any spoilers, I feel like we accomplished that in season 2, and also in season 1 as well. She has a really good arc in episode 4 that you'll see in season 1 that I felt like we were able to nail the essence of her character, and Tijuana did a fantastic job, and I love working with her.
So any plans to add more people, or this is the cast and this is what you're going to be rolling with?
Well, the main cast is always going to be the main cast, and their story is the story of Blue Collar Hustle, and their struggles and what they go through basically is Blue Collar Hustle. I will say again, without giving any spoilers away, there are more characters in season 2 that are introduced that add to the journey and that add to the plot, but I'm not going to give away any spoilers. You just have to watch it, brother.
Because the people that I wanted, well, maybe they will show up because I haven't gotten there. Because I know that at one point in time, in the first episode, she speaks about the mother, and you speak about your dad and your mother also.
Yes.
And I think those are some funny characters, people that I'd like to see if they're not already on the show.
Keep watching.
Okay.
I have a question for you about one of the new characters in the season 2.
Yes, sir.
All right, so you have one of the character who is struggling with coming out of the closet.
Yes.
What made you want to go into that direction? Because every time it seems that we have a gay black character, you always have those people that says it's an agenda and that type of stuff. So what made you want to do it as an independent filmmaker?
Well, first and foremost, I wanted to show, and this was my goal. My goal was to show that no matter your creed, sexual orientation, however you identify, if you are black, we are all in this together. If you are black and gay, you are black first. If you are black and straight, you are black first. If you are black and this and that or whatever, the world sees you as black first. We will get nowhere unless as black people, we can come to an understanding with one another. I don't have to necessarily understand or agree with every facet of your lifestyle or anything like that. But what we can agree upon is that we are black and we need and we love one another. So that was the first thought that I had about the topic itself. And secondly, just growing up and being here in Atlanta and, being a straight black man, I've come across, individuals who have been associates or even friends of mine who struggled with their sexuality within the black community and felt ostracized within the black community. You can even go as far as back as James Baldwin, who was, or Langston Hughes, who were gay black men who were at the forefront of the civil rights movement, through their poetry and their writings, who felt ostracized by their own people for, who they were. So I just wanted to touch upon that. I just wanted to touch upon that theme. I didn't want to make any grandiose statements about a lifestyle that I don't really know about myself. But I just wanted to say that whoever you are, if you're black, you're my brother or you're my sister, regardless.
That's great.
That's great. Great.
Thank you.
Truly enjoyed that. Hopefully he won't get too big for us in the future, so we might be able to get him again.
Nah, I'll never be too big for y'all, man. Y'all my people. I love y'all. Thank you for having me on your podcast. It's anytime anybody appreciates anything that I do, or the show itself, or any line of dialogue, or any scene, it just added motivation for me to keep going.
Well, the show is international, my friend, because all the way up here in Canada, we're loving it.
Thank you very much.
I have one last question before you leave.
Yes, sir.
Because I'm looking at the name of some of the characters. We have Garvey, we have Lee, we have Bassett. Who are some of your biggest influence, whether it's writing or acting or other fields?
I'm glad you actually noticed that. You're the first person to ask me about that. You're the very first person to ask me about that. I was waiting for somebody to ask me about that. What I did was, honestly, if you look at Spike Lee, this is kind of inspired by Spike Lee.
Okay.
When you look at Spike Lee, a lot of his characters, they have very unique names.
Okay.
When you think about the characters, and they're kind of escaping me right now. But I took that, and what I wanted to do was I wanted to flip it a little bit. I wanted to have characters that have unique names, but I wanted them to have black names, and I wanted them to have names that in some shape, form, or fashion had meaning to who they were. So, for instance, a Johnny is a Nigerian name, and it means he who fights for possession. And a Johnny, if you look at his arc throughout the season, he's fighting for possession of his true self, of who he is, and how he sees the world, and how he wants Quan's career to be, and who he wants to be. And when you look at Quan is actually a Vietnamese name for soldier. And Quan's debut album is called A Soldier Story. Jose Torres is named after one of the first Puerto Rican boxers of African descent to win a World Series in boxing.
Okay, wow.
To win a world championship for boxing. So all their names mean something. Anaya means she who looks up to God. And when you look at the first episode of the first season, when she's talking and he's like, please, he's a good man, Lord, he's a good man. Their names mean something to their personality. And Garvey, again, is a shout out to Marcus Garvey. Quan Banneker is a shout out to Benjamin Banneker. Anthony Lee is a shout out to Spike Lee. Anaya Bassett is a shout out to Angela Bassett. These are just Asha Luna is named after a woman. Her last name is Luna. She was the first black woman to be on the cover of Vogue magazine. So these names mean something to these characters, and they mean something to the overall plot.
Man, that's good, because I noticed when you were talking about episode 1, it escapes me but it was the word, I believe it was in Swahili. It meant king.
Yes.
Exactly. So I catch that, and I'm like, it looks like it's really important for you, that part of our history as black people.
Absolutely. There's a term called Sankofa, and it means those who don't know their past are doomed to repeat it. So I just always wanted to, throw a little bit of history into the show, or into anything that I do that kind of shouts out or is a throwback to, Black history, African history, where we truly come from. And, that's something that's very important to me. Yes, absolutely.
Cool. Thank you for your time once again, man. That was a good interview.
Thank you for putting up with a French accent also.
Oh, no problem, brother. No problem, man. Anytime. I'm here for you.
Comme je le dis à chaque fois ou presque à chaque émission, vous avez entendu quand même une entrevue fort intéressante avec comme je le disais tantôt, un jeune entrepreneur qui a vraiment décidé de mettre ses rêves et ses plans, ses passions de l'avant, même si au début, justement, il n'y avait pas des gens qui le supportaient, il y était financé à ses propres coûts. Donc, il a décidé de continuer. Puis là, présentement, il y a une deuxième saison qui a été mise en ligne. On peut aller accéder, que ça soit sur leur plateforme web ou du moins sur YouTube. Donc, comme je vous dis à chaque fois, c'est pour ceux qui sont créatifs. Mais pas pour ceux, parce que tout le monde est créatif. On a tous une créativité, on a tous une passion. Restez alerte, parce qu'on ne sait jamais comment les choses peuvent débloquer, comment les choses peuvent arriver. Comme lui, il avait une passion, puis il l'a mis de l'avant, puis il est passé à l'action, justement. Donc, je vous incite. Là, présentement, on est en fin d'année. L'année 2018 est en train de terminer tranquillement, pas vite. Là, on commence à penser à nos résolutions tranquillement, pas vite pour 2019. Qu'est-ce qu'on devrait faire? Qu'est-ce qu'on ne devrait pas faire? Qu'est-ce qu'on doit changer? Comment on peut s'améliorer et tout? Donc, je vous incite, vous qui nous écoutez à chaque émission, vous qui nous écoutez, qui venez de commencer à nous écouter, si vous avez une passion, menez-la de front. Comme je vous dis, on ne sait jamais comment ça peut débloquer. Puis des personnes comme Alonge Hawes, oh mon Dieu, Alonge, merci. Ça peut être des personnes inspirantes, puis j'espère que ça vous inspire à aller de l'avant. Donc, sur ce, je vous dis à la prochaine et passez une bonne semaine.
Et je vous adore.
À la prochaine.